Hey, my name's Chris Martin, and I'm the co-creator of Lifeway Social, and I do all the coaching for Lifeway Social. This week, I want to talk to you about 3 common mistakes I see when people are running Facebook ads. One of the more common ways that I help people through Lifeway Social and other ways inside Lifeway and outside Lifeway that I help people with online content is by helping them with Facebook ads. Now, let me be clear, I'm not a Facebook ads pro. I have at least a few friends that I could name off the top of my head who are probably, I know, not just probably, are much smarter about Facebook ads and what works and what doesn't, and what stats to pay attention to and what stats not to pay attention to, and all of that. I'm by no means the smartest person I know when it comes to Facebook ads, that's for sure. But as I'm coaching people just kind of on the basics of Facebook ads, when we're first having conversations about what good Facebook ads are and what bad Facebook ads are, there are 3 common mistakes I often see that I want to talk to you about and just kind of make you aware of so that you could avoid them. The first common mistake that I see is picking the wrong content to use for your ad or for boosted content. So really there are 2 ways to run Facebook ads. You can run an ad, a piece of content that never was viewed organically, meaning people could never see it outside of that ad. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to take a piece of content, a video that you've posted and people have consumed organically, just like if they like your page, before you put any money behind it. And then you can boost it or put money behind it to give it some more reach beyond the organic reach it already had. And one of the common mistakes I see is just people pick the wrong content to run as an ad, or people pick the wrong content to boost. Now, wrong and right or good or bad content can be pretty subjective, so we have to be careful here. But picking the wrong content really is just picking content to boost that wasn't being engaged very well. So let's pretend that you're not going to run an ad per se, but you're going to look at all the content you've posted in the last week and decide which of this, you're trying to decide which piece of this content am I going to boost. I've got a video, I've got a link to a blog post, I've got a share square image with some text superimposed over it. Which of these pieces of content am I going to try to boost the best, or actually spend some money on? The right answer almost all the time as to the correct content to boost is the content that's gotten the most engagement. So if let's say you have a budget of $25 a week, that every week you're going to spend $25 on a piece of content on Facebook. And you say, all right, every Monday I'm going to get on Facebook and look at all of the content we've posted since the last Monday and pick the best piece of content that we've run, the most engaging, the one that seems to have gotten most attention. Boost that. Don't boost the blog post or the video that nobody really seemed to care about. You might be tempted to do that because you want to bring that piece of content up to the level of everything else. That's not what you should do. What you should do is take a piece of content you've already seen that has resounded with people and boost that a little bit further so you can reach more people with that content. A second mistake that I see is spending too little money on Facebook. Probably within the realm of the Facebook ads discussion, the most common question I'm asked is how much money is the right amount of money to spend on Facebook? And it's a good question. A lot of people are probably still wary about putting money in a social media platform. I understand that. I totally get that. I mean, I didn't start spending money on Facebook until just a couple of years ago. So I totally understand if you're a little timid. I always tell people when they ask me to start with $25 a week. Now, that makes sense for a company or an organization or a church or something that has a pretty large marketing budget or outreach budget or whatever you call it. But if you're an individual, if you're an author that's trying to get his or her name out there, or you have a small business and you're just kind of running out of your pockets, whatever money you have to spend on marketing is what you have to spend, that might be too much. But largely hinged on this last factor that we'll talk about in a second, you're going to reap what you sow when it comes to spending money on Facebook. So if you spend $5, all other variables being equal, if you spend $5 on something and then $10 on something, the $10 one's probably going to be twice as effective. Again, all other things being equal. Roughly, what you spend is what you get when it comes to attention and reach and everything that you get with spending money on Facebook. So I always say $25, it's a nice kind of, that's $100 a month. that you'd be spending, that might not be realistic for someone who, like for me. I just published a book. I just had a book come out. I don't have a huge marketing budget. I've done a couple big ads, like, a couple $100 ads, and I probably won't run anything else. I don't have the kind of money to be running $25 a week on Facebook ads for my book. I just don't. I've not budgeted that for myself. As my wife and I as a family have decided not to do that. But if you do, that's fantastic. Go for it. But especially if you're running ads for an organization or something like that might have a little bit more robust of a budget, $25 a week should be pretty good to start with. But you have to do what's right for you. I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money, but that's just kind of my advice on how to spend money there. Third most common mistake that I see, and the most grave mistake that I see when it comes to the gravest mistake I've seen when it comes to Facebook ads, is targeting the wrong audience. The point of Facebook ads is to reach people who either haven't already seen your content, or to reach a group of people that maybe has seen your content that you want to build a deeper relationship with. If you're not targeting the right group of people, you could spend $100,000 on a Facebook ad and it won't matter. How does that make sense? Here, for example, let's say you're a church running Facebook ads. Let's say you've got a men's breakfast coming up, a community men's breakfast. You want to reach as many men in your community as you can to come to this men's breakfast. It probably does, and again, you're a church in a local community trying to reach men for a men's breakfast. You can make the case that you boost it, that you advertise this content to an audience made up of both men and women so that women can make their husbands aware, if they see it. There's a case for that. I would err toward only boosting it to men, but I see a case for making it toward men and women. But what you don't do is you don't advertise that piece of content, that video or that post or whatever, to people, if your church is in Tennessee. You don't advertise your men's breakfast to people in New York or the whole United States or across the world or whatever. If you're going to advertise some local event, you should probably target your audience in such a way that you reach people within a 25 or maybe 50 mile radius of your church. If you are, let's say you have a new book out and it's a book for mothers of toddlers, you probably don't want to target women that are over the age of 55 or so. I mean, think of the average age of a mother of a toddler. If your audience is too broad, you probably, your ads aren't going to be as effective. So you want to, as you're building in Facebook ads, you decide how much money you want to spend. You decide what content you're going to boost. You also decide to whom you're boosting this content. You don't want to be too broad. You don't want to be too specific. You don't only want to boost to people who have seen your content before. If you're trying to do some outreach and reach some people who haven't seen your stuff, so you really have to consider this, and it's the most important one of these three mistakes because it can shipwreck your entire campaign. If you pick the wrong audience for your men's breakfast, you're boosting it to people who live in Oregon and your church is in Tennessee. That's a failed ad. You probably just wasted a lot of your money, if not all of it. So those are three of the most common mistakes I see when people are running Facebook ads. Try to avoid them. And as always, Lifeway Social exists to help you with this kind of stuff. Facebook ads are a super important tool, but they're also one of the parts of the social media experience that I see people complaining about the most and having the most anxiety about. And it doesn't have to be that way. Again, I'm not a Facebook ads guru. I have many friends who are much smarter and better at them than I am. But if you're confused or nervous or unsure, I can help you at least get started with many of the basics. So reach out to me through Twitter or email or through Lifeway Social, whatever. If you're interested in running Facebook ads but you aren't really sure where to start, I'm happy to help. I hope this video has been helpful for you, and I will see you next time.